990. Holy Ghost filled you with Singanikate. I live the high life cause I'm heavenly minded. Hold up, I'm a 90s baby. So really, you made me walk up to you and you don't subscribe to the channel? Make sure you hit the subscribe button, like the video and share it with someone. I know you will. Righteous, so wicked. Righteous, no wicked. You righteous, so wicked. Righteous, no.
Well, the saga with regard to the former first family, the Lungu family, continues. So as you may be aware, recently, it should have been like 48 hours ago, Tasila Lungu's seat was petitioned in Parliament. Zambezi East Member of Parliament brought up an issue to say she's an absentee Member of Parliament and the Speaker reserved ruling. And the lawyers criticized that, according to Phoenix FM. So a lawyer criticizes the Speaker for reserving ruling on Tasila Lungu's parliamentary seat. So after that was submitted, so the lawyer, Jonas Zimba, has criticized Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, for reserving a ruling on the point of order raised in the National Assembly, seeking to have a Chagwa parliamentary seat declared vacant due to the absence of the area Member of Parliament, Tasila Lungu. Mr. Zimba argues that before reserving the ruling, Ms. Muti should have realized that the National Assembly operates on rules, committees, and privileges, which should have guided analysis of the motives behind such a call. In an interview with Phoenix News, Mr. Zimba has described the point of order by UPND Zambezi East Member of Parliament, Brian Kabita, as sinister, and that the Speaker must have evaluated the motive behind it before reserving the ruling. Meanwhile, political analyst and Dr. Alex Ngoma has advised Zambezi East lawmaker to demonstrate leadership with a humane face rather than seeking punitive measures regarding Ms. Lungu. On Tuesday, Mr. Kabita rose on the point of order, questioning whether the House was in order to consider Ms. Lungu as its member when she has no intentions of coming back to Zambia, as submitted by her mother Esther Lungu in South Africa High Court, prompting Speaker of the National Assembly Nelly Muti to reserve ruling on the matter. So that's with regard to Tasila Lungu's situation. But as you may be aware, Makebi Zulu was also petitioned of some sort. Should have been also 48 hours ago. So Makebi Zulu is a family spokesperson and he was a lawyer for the late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. So he has responded to that. So done nothing wrong, but honor the duties of the family. So Makebi Zulu welcomes complaint against him to the Law Association of Zambia. So lawyer to the late former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu and former First Family spokesperson Mr. Makebi Zulu has welcomed any complaint to the Law Association of Zambia regarding the conduct. Yesterday, the Republican Progressive Party reported Mr. Zulu to LAS for misconduct in his recent public conduct surrounding the funeral arrangements of the late former president, claiming that the action and statements fall short of the decorum and professional ethics expected of a legal practitioner in Zambia. But in an interview with Phoenix FM, Mr. Zulu has emphasized his focus on preserving the dignity of Mr. Lungu's funeral and declined to engage in allegations against him, insisting that any issue raised by critics are theirs to resolve. He has insisted that the funeral proceedings should not be overshadowed by personal disputes, and his role is to ensure the solemnity and the respect of the late president. So he simply says whoever wishes to submit that, they can go ahead, but he's going to focus on his job. He's not going to be derailed. While his Chifeteari keeps on striking at the patriotic front, so he says PF is like a snake with heads on both ends, trying to eat its own tail. They will criticize others over something. They will turn around and want to do the same thing they criticize for. So, and then he highlights some things. Obviously, the Patriotic Front has strike also hit back at Shilfetayari there. As you may be aware, he had some issues, some court cases where he was accused of raping his niece at some point. And I think he won that case, so I don't know how it played out. But so that's what the Patriotic Front is jabbing at to say: a mouth for hire. It can be used for anything. And then they say, "Kanyiska panga sense there." That's the meme they created there. And then Shifetayari goes further to say, in public, they say they defended public interest in the case of Kaunda's burial, and today they are against it. So he's referring to the fact that the Patriotic Front at the time overshadowed their will with regard to burying the first president, Kenneth Kaunda, next to his late wife, but instead opted for him to be buried at Embassy Park. And then now that it is their turn to put to rest Edgar Chagalungu, they insist that his wishes be honored, so that he's buried in South Africa, and Hakainde Hichilema is nowhere near the funeral procession. And then he gives an example of Bill 10, and then now we have Bill 7. Those are the things that Chifetayari brings out there. On the other hand, the Law Association of Zambia has sued the Zambian government. So the Law Association of Zambia petitions cyber laws. They are unconstitutional. So the Law Association of Zambia has petitioned the Constitutional Court to strike out provisions of the new cyber crimes and cyber laws that contravene the rights and freedoms of individuals of expression, speech, and conscience of association, and the rights to hold opinion and freedom of press as guided by the Republican Constitution. So Laz has sued pretty much government with regard to the new cyber laws. It's also reported there by Kalemba. So it says Laz sues government on cyber. The Law Association of Zambia has filed a lawsuit against the government challenging the constitutionality of the new Cybersecurity Act number 3 and the Cyber Crimes Act number 4 of 2025. So there's a lawsuit there. Let's see how that plays out. On the other hand, Munia Zulu's judgment falls again. So he had appealed his sentencing, and it couldn't take place earlier on today. And then in other news, also Economics and Financial Crimes Court, Lusaka High Court Division has dismissed the appeal by Wanzinya Chirwa. That's wife to former Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampiongo, upholding a 3-year sentence for possession of property reasonably suspected to be proceeds of crime. So Stephen Kampiongo's wife continues to serve a sentence as she has lost her appeal case there. The court has been busy, or at least Kanchibia, member of parliament, his brother, I think he has been released from prison, according to this. Macpherson Chanda serves imprisonment and ends a custodial sentence. So he was sentenced to 2 years sentence imprisonment by the lower court, and his family going to pick him up earlier on. So the courts have been busy. Those are the images coming from his pickup there. You can even see Bishop Nerich Kwanda at the far end there. And also Gary Nkombo's impersonator on Facebook has been found with a case to answer. So court finds a fake Gary Nkombo with case to answer. So a 27-year-old Lusaka man, Simon, has been found with a case to answer in a matter where he is accused of impersonating former local government and rural development minister Gary Nkombo. So a young man has been picked up, age 27. He was running a page under the name and pretty much using the images of Gary Nkombo, but he was struck down. And then Hakainde Hichilema never promised a 50 kwacha meal in 2021, even Sinkando says, according to the news diggers, says the president never made such a promise. That's one thing that people strike at him to say many had promised that, and the opposite is the case in 2025. We're just barely a year before the elections. And then the mass newspaper, there will be no Zambia if Hichilema and the UPND voted are not voted out next year. So according to the Socialist Party, to say there is need to vote out the UPND there, according to that news headline. News diggers says, I've not seen audit report. We are not aware of his content, Zamsa, responding to that. Zamsa, it is not, it's just a cover up. According to Brian Mundivi, they asked to say what happened to 61 containers that were trended, should have been a year ago. Now we have another issue here without resolving the previous one. So he simply says that's a cover up. And that's the news, ladies and gentlemen.